Welcome back, Spiffers. It's good to see you again. It's me, Jamie Woodhouse from SaaS Educators, again here with your 5-minute Salesforce Spiff tip of the week. It's Thanksgiving week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Wasn't sure if I was going to do a video this week due to the holiday, but I thought I'd do something kind of fun and new and keep it short and sweet for our holiday. One thing that we've done in the past with Spiff, when we were at the Spiff headquarters, working under the customer success team as the learning and education team, is whenever an update to the software, to the Spiff site or the Spiff app was released, us in the learning and development team would kind of put together videos or actually have more interactive meetings with everyone in the customer success team to introduce them to what's changed in the update, what's different, how does this make your life better, how can you use it, what can you do. And so I thought it would be fun to do something like that for all the users, is to kind of do some updates when a Salesforce update comes out. So I looked through the release notes and I put together something for Q4 of 2025. So this is the Q4 2025 update as far as the software goes within Spiff. We don't have a lot each quarter, but if it continues to go along the way that I'm hopeful that it will be with the updates, I'll send one of these out once a quarter to let you know what's changed in Salesforce Spiff and why it changed and how you can use this functionality if you want to use it. And I got to get better at understanding where this arrow is going. I've noticed on a couple of my past videos that I have the arrow like right in between my face. So I got to make sure when I've got full screen that you can see me and not just the arrow. Kind of a little thing that was bugging me a little bit, but evidently not enough to change my video. So working on that for the future. Anyway, let's get started. All right, so we're in Spiff. There are 2 updates for Q4 2025. And the first one is more of speed, just to kind of help out with the speed of the system and to make sure that your system runs a little bit smoother. So you probably won't really see changes. Hopefully you're feeling the impact of this, but there is some tweaks that they made to make your life a little bit easier when dealing with statements and reps when dealing with statements. So let's go into a statement. So I'm going to go back to October because I've got better data here. We're always picking on Ava Sasna, a lot of building and a lot of things that we do with Ava. So I'm going to go ahead and click into her statement. Got a lot of different things in her statement, and if this doesn't look like your statement, that's fine. We'll get into statements a little bit at a later date. But what the change is, or the enhancement, or even the fix for this, is that it made this lower section load a lot faster. Now, when reps get into statements, this initial space probably doesn't change, or they didn't really do anything in the code to make this run any faster. But when you expand one of your payout rules, if I go ahead and expand this accelerator commission, the loading of this should be a lot faster, especially if you're a customer who has a lot of data and a lot of deals that could show up. Maybe you're looking at a quarter, maybe you're looking at a VP level or a team leader manager level that has a lot of different deals. If that was the case, when you expanded this, it would take a long time to load. Sometimes it would even time out. It was just a little bit clunky. So what they did is they made it faster. What they're doing is, instead of everything loading in the background and then you only seeing the first 8 like it used to do, they're only loading a maximum of 250 records that show up here on the list. Made it so that all of those timeout issues with a lot of data are gone. And so hopefully you're having a better experience with that. You'll notice that when you're viewing these things, it just shows the top 8, and then you can click on view more to actually have that expand, and it will load more at that time. Now, I don't have a lot of data in my test system. I've never maxed this out at 250 records. That's a lot of records, but maybe if you're digging into some details, you're scrolling down. I don't know when you hit the view more, if it just gives you 8 at a time, or if you hit view more, it just gives you everything all at once. But either way, if you max out and you have hit all 250 of your rows and there's even more data that you can show, what it will do is it will add an export statement button down here so that you can say, oh, I've got more than 250 records, so I'm going to go ahead and export the statement and be able to use that in a spreadsheet or Excel, open it up there to be able to comb through and look through more of the data there if you want to. Before, you always had to scroll up. I keep getting in the way. And hit this export statement button to actually export your statement. But now, if you're in the middle of doing your process and working through some different things, and you have a lot of data and you've maxed out that data and you need to see more of it, you'll have an export statement button somewhere around here that you could click on to export instead of having to scroll up. So kind of a nice thing. It's always nice when the system gets faster, runs more efficiently. Hopefully you guys are seeing speed improvements if you have a lot of data on your statements when you're expanding and you're scrolling through some of those. That update came out in November of 2025. I think it was November 10th. So hopefully you've been seeing that since that time. Or maybe it was in October. Anyway, either October or November, you can start experiencing that a little bit better. All right, the last thing that I want to show you, the last addition that was made in Q4 of 2025 is being able to do role management and actually create your own roles. So if you go and click up on admin at the top of your screen and you go into role management, before we used to have within Spiff the different role names that you could have and that you could use within the Spiff system. But really all you could do is just kind of click into those to see what settings were on there. You couldn't really tweak the settings. It would really just kind of show you what the different rights are for each one of those things. But now we can actually create our own custom roles, which is really nice. For those of you who have a lot of users or you want to give a little bit more specifics than what we have with these 7 that we've got that are pre-programmed in the system, you can actually create your own. You can go ahead and click on new role up at the top right, but I actually really like starting someplace that's close and then just adding more to it. So in our example, let's say that I'm going to go ahead and what I want to do is I want to create what I like to call a reporting manager role. And that reporting manager is going to have all the rights as a regular manager in Spiff. I just want to give them more access to reporting. I want them to be able to build and create their own reports, be able to, do custom things, because I have a few managers that really like to get hands-on, really like to dig into the data and pull some reporting instead of always having to reach out to me as the admin to actually create those reports for them. I want to give them the capacity to be able to do that themselves. So I move myself again. And what I do is I can start with this manager role. When I go to the manager role, I can go ahead and click on the 3 dots to the right of that and choose to duplicate this role. When I click on duplicate, it will go ahead and show me it'll let me name it first of all. So let's do that. I always like to name things first. So I'm just going to call this reporting manager role. And it's going to start with the same roles that I have as a manager. So all of these global settings and designer settings, most managers, all the current managers don't have access to. I don't want to give them that. That is an interesting idea. I haven't really thought of a use case that would do that, to give some people viewable access to designer to be able to view filters and plans and things like that, not edit them, but view them. It's kind of an interesting idea if you want to give people view access to designer, but we're going to go down to reporting. And what I want to do is I'm not going to go ahead and just give them all of the reporting rights in here. I could just check all of these, but the ones that I really like for my reporting managers is I want them to be able to create reports and share it with other people that they want, if they want to do that. So I give them that share option. I'm not really worried about dashboards or custom or expense reports. I want to go to the reports exports. That's kind of our being able to do exports of the reports and kind of build those reports out. Is they can go ahead and check the box to manage the report exports and only focus on the teams that they manage. And so they can either have access to all the company's data or the teams that I manage. I like to limit visibility for the managers to only see the teams that they manage. And so I like to go ahead and do that. And I can go ahead and turn on the reporting configuration to be able to have them do that. Well, what that will allow them to do now is to go ahead and create some exports and manage those exports and those reports as you're actually, so that they can kind of build it on their own and they can actually export it and save those off and be able to do everything that they need to within the reporting. So expense reports is a very specific report that I don't use very often, and so I keep those unchecked. I could check the custom reports to edit and make edits to those. That only gives me company access, so I'm a little leery about giving them full company access. But this should give them access to be able to now create reports, create exports, and run some things that they want. And then with that, I can go ahead and click on Save at the top. That will save that now as a new role that we have. It says it takes about 2 minutes before I can actually assign this to anybody. And so I have to wait for that to be created, but then I can assign this to different users and have them use new rights with this new role. So I can play around with that a little bit. Now, be careful once you create a custom role, there is no way to get rid of that custom role. Notice that when I click on the 3 dots, I can definitely edit that or duplicate it, but I cannot delete it. The assumption probably is that there might be users that are using this custom role, so we don't want to break people's access rights by letting you delete this if it's in use. And so they only give you those options to edit or to duplicate it. And so that's custom roles and being able to build those custom roles within Salesforce Spiff. If you're curious to learn more about the updates as they come out and to be able to read those, you can find that in the Salesforce help. So if you click on the question mark up at the top of your Spiff app or your Spiff site, it'll take you to the Salesforce help. And right when this loads up, you can look on the left side to be able to see the release notes, or I just like clicking on it here where you've got Salesforce Spiff release notes right there on the homepage that it takes you to. And then you can see notes for 2024, 2025 is how I got to these for November 10th and October 29th. And so you can kind of look through and read and understand a little bit more. But what I'm going to try and do is each quarter, we're starting with Q4 2025, each quarter being able to just do a little walkthrough. Hopefully I can keep it to a quick 5 minutes and so that you can learn as the Salesforce Spiff system updates and changes, how that can benefit you as an admin and as your reps continue to use the system. All right. Thanks, everybody. Again, hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving break. And with that, I'm signing off. Oh, I always forget. I got to promote myself, right? Please, if you enjoy these videos, come and join me. I teach seminars across the country. After Thanksgiving, I'm coming to Lehi, Utah, and to the Salesforce Tower in San Francisco. So go to saaseducators.com, which is linked below this video in the comments, and you can come and join me at a 3-day Spiff boot camp. I've got a current 50% off sale for those, and so come do an early bird registration and take advantage of those discounts. Hope to see you soon. And again, I hope you like these videos. If you would like more content on different aspects or different topics, leave the comments below, and I'll be able to try and create those videos and those tips for you. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.